Welcome to the Zoning Subcommittee meeting of February 26th, 2024. Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of the members. Councilor Guarino-Sawaya.
Here.
Councilor Kelly.
Here.
Here. Councilor Novoselsky.
Here.
Here. Councilor Silvestri.
Here.
Here. Ex officio Council President Cogliandro.
Here.
Here. And Chairman Zambuto.
Here.
Here. Quorum is present. First matter on tonight's agenda is a special permit application from Zorro LLC, requesting a special permit from the Revere City Council for the reconstruction, alteration, and extension of the pre-existing non-conforming residential use and structure for the purpose of constructing a 4-story, 11-unit residential apartment building at 1473 North Shore Road.
Counselor. I try to pronounce that different than counselor. I don't know if you caught that.
Good evening, Chairman Zambuto and members of the Zoning Subcommittee. My name is Nancy O'Neill, and I am an attorney located at 14 Proctor Avenue. I am here tonight on behalf of the applicant and property owner, Zorro LLC. So as you know, Zorro LLC has applied for special permits to request the reconstruction, alteration, and extension of the pre-existing non-conforming use and structure at 1473 North Shore Road, which you can see right there. So I intend to give a brief overview of the project and then allow the subcommittee to ask their questions and address their concerns. So this project is for transit-oriented apartments in the Shirley Avenue neighborhood. So both of these elements are very important here because they intersect to fulfill City of Revere, state, and federal planning goals. So I'd like to direct your attention to the City of Revere's Next Stop Revere Master Plan, which was drafted over the course of 3 years with extensive community input, as well as expert consultation from municipal officials and consultants like the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, which is the planning agency for Eastern Massachusetts, and UTIL, which is a prominent architecture and planning firm in southern New England. So this is the master plan. It is a well-thought-out document that the City of Revere has spent significant amounts of time, energy, and funding to complete and perfect. So this master plan articulates planning principles and goals for the City of Revere as a whole, as well as individual neighborhoods like the Shirley Avenue neighborhood. So notably, this plan calls for increases in transit accessibility and walkability, decreases in parking, increases in density, and the support and retention of small businesses. So this project furthers all of these goals. So again, this is a transit-oriented building that'll provide transit-oriented housing where residents will take the nearby Blue Line to work and walk to small businesses along Shirley Avenue. So in addition to being master planned by the City of Revere for increased density and walkability, the Shirley Avenue neighborhood has been designated as an opportunity zone by the state and federal governments. So established as part of the 2017 U.S. Tax Cut and Jobs Act, specific neighborhoods like Shirley Avenue are selected by the state and affirmed by the federal government to incentivize denser development. So this neighborhood has really benefited from developments like this one that are providing new, quality, transit-oriented housing with minimal impacts to sustain the economic growth in this neighborhood. So this project fits with the overall economic development of Shirley Avenue and Flaherty Square, which you can see with the nearby 1485 North Shore project, the condos at 172 Kimball, the renovation of 655 Beach, as well as developments in Shirley Ave, just to name a few, like 191 Shirley, the Bagel Bin on 177 Shirley. So modern planning initiatives are working together at the city, state, and federal levels to create these new transit-oriented developments which address current needs during the ongoing housing crisis. So here is, thank you. So here's an additional view of the proposed building. So this is a modern building that's in line with the neighborhood of today. And I would also suggest that this building and the award of this relief would be supported by the courts as set out in decisions like Blasco versus Board of Appeals and Murphy versus Board of Appeals, which support the granting of relief for the creation of apartment units and rundown uneconomical buildings, which are bringing down the neighborhood. So for these reasons, I would respectfully request that the relief sought is granted, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open this up to members. Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, myself being the ward counselor, just to let everybody know, we did have a neighborhood meeting, and the notification was sent out to people within 300 feet of the project. And there were only, I believe, 4 people that showed up. And none of them were really against it. They had questions for it. And other than that, the 3 people out of the 4 were for it. And they believe there should be relief. And they were for the other projects around the neighborhood. So I would say at this time, I'm in favor of it, and I hope this goes through with all the allowance variances. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Silvestri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree if the ward council is in favor. The developer has done amazing work in that area over and over again. It fits the neighborhood structure and is what we're looking for. Keep some parking away, too. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other members? Oh, Councilor Kelly.
Thank you. So I'm not going to belabor, I think at the public hearing, I brought attention to the fact of the relief that was granted by the ZBA, so I'm not going to go over that again. My concern, for the most part, is the size of the lot with the number of units that are going to be developed on the lot, and just the floor area ratio increasing from 1 to 3. But in addition, I have a question. You noted on page 195, paragraph 9, you state in section A, off-street parking shall be limited by leasehold agreements with the tenants to the number of off-street parking spaces approved with the project. Note that this development shall not be eligible for residential parking stickers. But there are no off-street parking spots, correct? There won't be any off-street parking spots, correct?
Correct. This project has no parking spaces.
Okay. And then it says, prior to leasing, building management will commit to exploring available T-Pass programs for residents without vehicles. So I guess I'm confused. Are you trying to say that there's going to be a way for lessees or residents to not have a vehicle, to not own a vehicle, or what? I'm confused, because of course, there's no way, of actually preventing or even policing that to happen. Of course, they could have come into a vehicle at some certain point in time, and then they'd be parking elsewhere, correct?
No, they could not under the terms of the lease. But that is a good question. And I'd just like to point out that the language about the transportation demand programs, that's standardized language, as there will be no cars on this site. That will also be restricted and managed by the leasing agents, by the terms of the lease and by my client in managing these leases. And this is a type of program that exists in a number of my client's buildings in Shirley Avenue neighborhood, and it is managed with great success. So he has excess parking.
I just wonder how that's policed is all. Like, how would you prevent against it happening? I don't know. So just something that I thought of. But I do know that he has a number of buildings on Shirley Ave, and I think they're great. I just, in my opinion, the size of the lot being 2,500 square feet and the amounts of the side and rear and setbacks are just a little too much for me, and policing the parking. So that's all. Thanks.
Just for clarification, Mr. Chairman? Chairman. Jamie Russo, 1040 North Shore Road, Suite B2. The city mandates that we not get parking permits, so although I can't prevent someone from getting a car, we've never had an issue where someone has gotten a car later and not had the issue of getting ticketed day after day after day after day. I mean, we have hundreds of units in that neighborhood with 0 cars. The few buildings that we do have with parking, we provide some parking, but the reality is, it's a non-issue. You'd be shocked at how many people do not have cars today. But again, that's also mandated by the city. We're not allowed to participate in the parking sticker program,
Thank you.
just for clarification.
If I could also add, so in the Shirley Avenue neighborhood, as I mentioned before, the City of Revere Master Plan calls for increased density in this neighborhood, and they actually recommend increased FAR up to 3.0, reduced setbacks. So that's part of the master plan. This building, it really complies with that. It matches other buildings in this neighborhood that have lot line to lot line coverage, like a few that I had mentioned without going through the list again. So this building will not be out of place in this neighborhood. And this level of density is what's called for at the municipal level through the master plan, and also through the state and federal opportunity zone program.
Can I respond to that, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
So I agree with that, and I think that that's one of the reasons why we designated this area within a smart growth overlay district. But then we bring up the whole issue that we're increasing the density, but also to serve a purpose of affordable housing, which we're not doing here. So I just want to make that clear.
If I could just add, so while this building is not a type of a deed-restricted affordable housing, it's what's known as naturally occurring affordable housing, which is also something that's discussed thoroughly in the City of Rivere's master plan. So what that is, it's housing that's offered at rents that are affordable. And it usually relates to unit size. So here, these units are smaller units. They're all 1-bedrooms and studios, and they average at around 500 square feet. So just by the size of these units, the rents are going to be less. So the units that are in this building, while not being deed restricted, are going to serve the need for affordable housing and be what's known as naturally occurring affordable housing.
Thanks for that explanation of natural occurring affordable housing. Councilor Silvestri, you're all set. I don't normally speak from the chair. However, the developer speaks for himself with what he's done. And I know units like this, real close to Shirley Ave, and that have no parking, that have no cars, and have deed restrictions that you don't have a car, because they're so small. And it's worked out very well. And so I expect this one to work just as well. And I think that's the first time anybody's brought up natural occurring. That's very good. Anybody else with any comment? Councilor Sawaya.
I totally agree with this development. I think it's going to bring the neighborhood even better than he's already made it. I mean, I used to be afraid to go down there, and now I can't wait to go to the restaurants down there, and I can't wait to go down there because he's done an amazing job with it. So I agree with this development. Thank you.
Okay, no other comments? Yeah. Yeah, please read the conditions.
There are several conditions submitted by Frank Stringy, the city planner. 1, a sewer connection and water connection permit must be obtained from the DPW for all new construction. The city engineer and DPW superintendent must review and approve the proposed sewer service and water service plan, as well as stormwater management and erosion control plan. Plans must be reviewed and approved by the fire department. Hydrant flow tests shall be conducted to determine the adequacy of both domestic and fire flow for the proper sizing of domestic and fire flow service lines to the proposed project. Plans for the location of additional hydrants shall be approved by the Revere Fire Department. The project proponent must pay a sewer mitigation fee, which is based on 10 times 110 gallons per bedroom times $1.30 per gallon. Based on the proposed 8 additional bedrooms, the sewer mitigation fee shall be $11,440. The sewer mitigation fee shall be utilized to remove inflow and infiltration from entering the sewer system and shall be paid to the City of Revere in 2 installments, 50% prior to the issuance of building permit and 50% prior to the issuance of an occupancy permit. Concrete sidewalks with granite curbing shall be installed along the full frontage of the property, and 2 street trees, minimum caliber of 2.5 inches, shall be planted along North Shore Road frontage. All existing drains, water lines, and sewer lines within the site shall be abandoned and shall be capped at the main and removed. The building design and materials plan, as well as the landscaping and streetscape plan, shall be approved by the Site Plan Review Committee. All rooftop mechanical units shall be set back from the building's perimeter in a manner that limits visibility from the street level and include acoustical mitigation and/or noise-baffled devices. The developer shall establish a transportation demand management program for the proposed project to be approved by the Site Plan Review Committee. The elements of the TDM program shall include off-street parking shall be limited by leasehold agreements with tenants to the number of off-street parking spaces approved with the project. Note that this development shall not be eligible for resident parking stickers. Prior to leasing, building management will commit to exploring available T-Pass programs for residents without vehicles. The project shall provide for bicycle parking at no additional charge to the tenants. In accordance with Chapter 17.47, the Community Improvement Trust Fund is applicable to this project. Under the Community Improvement Trust Fund, the developer must contribute 3% of the cost of construction above and beyond what's allowed as of right towards the fund, which must be spent exclusively towards capital improvement projects within the impacted area. For the purpose of the special permit, 3% of the construction costs shall be used on the increased density of the project as a result of the FAR of 3. Therefore, the CIT fee for this development is calculated at $31,428. Honorable.
Roll call on.
I'm
What-
sorry,
as amended.
if I could just
Go ahead.
make one comment here. So I was in touch with the city planner regarding the conditions specifically about the trees on North Shore Road. That North Shore Road is a Mass DOT regulated roadway, so I don't think they would allow us to plant trees there. So I spoke with, I have communication with him here, which I can give to Madam Clerk. And he would support allowing the trees to be planted on the Kimball Avenue frontage instead.
Just instead of North Shore Road, there'll be a planted on Kimball.
Shall the zoning subcommittee offer a favorable recommendation for granting the relief requested, subject to the conditions set forth by Frank Stringy, the city planner, as amended, I'm sorry, which number was that? Anyways, the trees are going to be planted on Kimball Avenue instead of North Shore Road. Okay. Counselor Guarino Sawaya.
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Kelly?
No.
No. Counselor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Council President Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. And Chairman Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes, the special permit has received a favorable recommendation and will be reported out as such to the full city council.
Thank you.
Next up is Council Order Number 24-022. This is a motion presented by Councilors Silvestri and McKenna that the City Council order to a public hearing a zoning ordinance relative to home-based childcare.
Council Silvestri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'll be brief. It's cut and dry. It's very clear we need affordable daycare in the city. We're not asking to do anything that the state regulations aren't in favor of doing. We're looking to make daycare more affordable for the citizens of Revere, and I think it's something that needs to happen fast. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Council Silvestri. Anyone else? Council McKenna.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do feel there's such a need for childcare, home-based in the city. I just feel, and like Councilor Silvestri said, it needs to be now. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other members? Council Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I agree with both my colleagues. We do have to have better childcare and more controlled childcare, but I don't believe that putting everything under a special permit is the answer. By putting the special permit in place for all the uses, that would add a cost to all these potential childcare and home care people. And, you know, if we want to make things affordable for them, I think we let them do it by right. Now, as you've been on the council almost as many years as I have, I've seen childcare centers and home care centers go up, go down, go up, go down, all over the city without a special permit. They're all controlled by the state. The city still has some oversight if there's a problem in the facility. But I don't think that making special permits in every category a necessity. I think those all the special permit marked locations should be a yes, and let them do it by right. We've never had it before. Why start now? Thank you.
Council President Cogliandro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I completely agree with Councilor Novoselsky. I don't believe that we should be regulating it in this issue on the council. It's added responsibility to us. It's an extra unnecessary step to get a daycare open. And to his point, we have 89 daycares in the city of Revere, and I just checked with Danielle Osterman on the number. They also get inspected once a year by the state. They have to reapply every 3 years, which triggers a full inspectional gauntlet on every daycare. Why have them come here and go through an additional step that's going to, take 2 to 3 extra months? Thank you.
Council McKenna.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, I mean, I do believe that we need some sort of regulation. I do. I don't think we need a special permit, but I know that when we were doing the ordinance for the short-term rentals, we created a department that oversees the short-term rentals. And maybe the city can create a department that oversees home-based childcare, and they have to come and register. And I do agree with you, Councilor Zambudo. I wouldn't want for a child care to just show up next door to me.
Right.
So I do think there should be some regulation, but I don't think that we should have a special permit. And like Councilor Cogliandro said, it is state regulated every year. Every 3 years, whatever it is. So we really do need it, so that's just my take on it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, my point for the special permit is more for notification than anything else of the neighborhood. Now, there may be a hybrid of this, and it may not be a special permit, but your idea of regulating it and having maybe a daycare committee or something that does notify the neighborhoods of an upcoming, that might suffice. But my point was for notification, and that was my reason for wanting a special permit. It doesn't look like I'll have the support of that, and so I'll obviously yield, as I always do, but my points are always taken for a reason. And Councilor Silvestri, you have something else?
I do, and thank you for the leeway, Mr. Chairman. Madam Clerk, could you clarify letter F, please? Section 2, letter F. Are they asking that be redacted? Is that what that's saying?
Yes, Councilor Zambudo wanted to prohibit swimming pools
Okay.
for a daycare homes. So that's why
So-
it would delete the section that you had submitted originally, and he was offering this amendment to prohibit the pools. But that's just an offer on the floor by Councilor Zambudo.
Okay.
Not-
The only reason I bring that up is in checking, we have a few already existing in the city. I'm not sure we want to block or end someone's business.
Yeah, I think they'd probably be grandfathered if they've been operating
Yeah.
under that. I'm just looking to not open up a new can of worms, and
Understand.
God forbid we had a problem. We are going to open this up to a lot more daycare now.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose of this. So, God forbid we ever had a kid get killed. So anyways, that's my point on that. But I think that one we should probably keep, and then we can put in if they've already licensed, they're grandfathered,
Yep.
correct? Huh? Yeah, non-conforming use it would be considered. Yeah, thank you. Can I call him counselor even though he's at the podium?
I'd rather you not.
Why?
Juan Pablo Jaramillo, 70 Low Street. How are you? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And through you to the members, I want to stand in support of this this ordinance change with a few amendments. Of course, I don't believe that the council should be deliberating on special permits for this particular ordinance. I would request that you remove that. The child care crisis is real. There are about 30,000 seats that the Commonwealth needs to fill, and statewide. That means that our working people here in the city of Revere cannot afford child care, in large part because they can't find child care. Most major cities in the Commonwealth don't have as strict regulations as we do here in Revere. In fact, we are only joined by one or two, and I think it's only one, New Bedford, who regulates the amount of child care seats at a family home-based setting. These are business owners, friends. We are talking about 89 family-based businesses in the city of Revere that are providing a vital resource for our working parents here. $20,000 is the average cost of child care in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And if we can't afford it, if working families can't afford it, then they're opting to not go to work because it's just cheaper. I would make an amendment to this particular ordinance in sections 8, where it says that the number should be limited to 10. I would just say that the number be limited to comply with the state statute. And in section 16, it's the same thing for that, so that we can just be in full compliance with state statute and we don't have to come back to this conversation in the future should something change. I also don't think we need to change the swimming pool conversation, but that's I won't beat a dead horse on that. This is so important. Each one of these folks who provide this critical service, we're not talking about nannies. These aren't nannies. These are educators. They're all licensed through EEC. They're all regulated through EEC. EEC sets the regulation on the square footage that a family child care provider can have relative to the size of their center. Then they're regulated by the fire department, of course, under fire code. The educators are all licensed. Their assistants are all licensed. Right now, we're limiting these business owners to 6 children, which means that their bottom line, and for my friends who have a more capital mindset as it relates to making money, can understand that the more restrictions we place on this critical service, the less these business owners are going to make. And in fact, Revere, as a result of the restrictiveness of the ordinance, has been closing down child care providers in a time of critical need. And so I would just, ask that the council move to amend those 2 sections to align, so that it just says broadly to align with state statute. And I would ask that no further restrictions be placed on this. I appreciate for your leisure here, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the council.
Thank you, Juan.
So what I'm seeing in section 8 is that if the number should exceed 6, then one approved assistant will be required.
That's correct. That's great, and we're okay with that. I think what we're saying is to not just put the number, the nominal number in the statute, in the ordinance change. I would just say broadly to whatever the state does, right? Because the state's the one who's regulating this business already, and they have pretty strict regulations as it relates to this business, as it relates to square footage, as it relates to. So right now, if I'm not wrong, the ordinance says 4 for one provider, and 6 if you have the assistant. Oh, 4 regardless, okay. So we would move this to the statute says 6 for one provider, and then 10 with an assistant. So you'd have 2 adults per every, but I would just say, put it whatever the state is as opposed to citing the number of children you'd want to do.
Just for the point of edification, one of the largest cities does have it by special permit. Just want to throw that out there. So I'm not looking for the special permit. If I can have the notification part of it, that's good enough for me. But Lawrence has it by special permit, just for those that
Paul Capizzi,
think
21 Broadway,
think that we're evil up here.
No, it's not that, I'm not gonna speak to the regulations or who inspects or any of that stuff, but I will speak to the special permit. Only because I can clearly envision a situation in which one is granted and one isn't. And then the person who isn't is gonna say, why did you grant? So and I understand that this large city you're referring to, at least I've recently been told, is gonna be eliminating that as well. Probably for the same reason, my guess, but just, be wrong on that, but that's what I heard.
Well, I mean, I only know that because one of the people that almost chopped my head off up here was from Lawrence, and then I found out that they had the special permit up there, and I was taken back by that because she was the most vocal and got in my face a little bit. But that's okay. I don't take these things personal. But
Just sounds like you do.
No. What I do is I educate myself and see what's going on so that I know what I'm talking about up here. And
Understood. That was just my
no,
only
and I
concern. is
agree
would have
with,
to
I agree
defend
with it.
that.
And my purpose for the special permit wasn't to put people through the ringer and wasn't.
No, I didn't think that was it
and
at
it
all.
wasn't to certainly not discriminate against anybody. So, and I see your point. But if I can get the notification through another way, I'm happy with that. And
I just like to speak as far as notification. I may be speaking completely out of turn here. These are children. It's not something you like to advertise, I think, for obvious public
no, I
safety
get it.
reasons. So it's not like the thing we're going to announce,
No,
there's going to
no,
be,
it's
it's Jake here saying like
discreetly,
this.
discreetly.
It's discreet, correct. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Tucker,
This is going to the zoning subcommittee?
it's actually going to a public hearing. We're in the zoning, we're trying to work out.
I can
What
speak at the
happened last
public hearing.
time is we didn't get it worked on quick enough and the time expired. So before the clock ticks when we get to the public hearing, starts ticking. So if we have these things cleared up before we get to the public hearing, we're not going to have any time trouble, and it's just going to go forward right away. So we're trying to work out all these little kinks ahead of time, and now it goes to a public hearing, then it goes to zoning, gets voted out, and it's done.
Okay,
So
then I'll speak.
last
Michael
time that
Tucker,
we had a
9 Ellington
problem.
Street, Revere. I have a concern over pools. Having 6 people be staffed by one person
Yeah.
is ludicrous, as far as I'm concerned, if you have a pool.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
There should not be any swimming pools, even if you have the gate with alarms. I've seen.
I'm against pools
I have
also.
seen this personally. I'm in property management, so I think I've seen this.
Okay.
The other thing is that if you're going to eliminate the special permit, is there any way that they could make it that they give public notice to the abutters in that community? Because there's concerns over traffic, parking. I see what happens now in this city. People pull up to and will pull up and drop off people that are in the street. They're parked double. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you for your concerns. This is not a public hearing. This is just a subcommittee meeting here. Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
Finally.
I apologize.
It's okay. In reference to the special permit, I don't think the city council should weaponize the power over the desperately needed child care industry. And I think by requiring special permits, that's what's going to happen. The child care business in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts operates under strict regulations, strict licensing requirements, and continual evaluations. So therefore, I do not feel that they should be required to have special permits. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Kelly.
Just to speak to Councilor McKenna's point about having or developing some kind of a department that would oversee, I think it would be important to maybe have that department require special, checks or random checks or things like that and oversight. I understand that the state requirements are there and that we can go ahead and abide by those, but we are also entitled to put whatever additional requirements in that we see fit, such as notification, which I believe to bring awareness to the neighborhood of such a facility coming into creation is a good thing. Thank you.
Can we put notification in there somewhere?
How is it going to be enforced? Who's going to do the notification?
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna keep that, and we'll work on that.
I just have a quick clarification to offer more information to Councilor Kelly and Councilor McKenna's point. The Director of Municipal Inspections and the Municipal Inspections Department oversee all child care centers with respect to coordinating with the fire department and the police department when necessary. So I would definitely speak more to Mike Wells if you have specific concerns you want him to include in his checklist. It's not something we typically see in zoning ordinances related to the internal processes that city inspectors and city employees go through. So if you have a specific thing you'd like inspectional services to check off, I would definitely forward that to Michael Wells.
I appreciate that. I think that this is kind of a unique zoning issue, actually, child daycare. It's one of its own. I think it's so. Anybody else? Okay. Former Councilor Morabito, Director of DEI.
It's an honor to be here before all of you, to be on this side of the podium. Going to be just really brief. You know me, I don't like to grandstand. Mr. Chairman, I remember a long time ago, actually one of my first motions up here was to increase the age of selling tobacco to the age 21. And I remember, Mr. Chairman, you said, let's leave it to the state. Let's wait for the state to move forward, and let's align our ordinance with the state. This is exactly what this ordinance and this amendment does. It's aligned with the state. The proposed amendment aims to facilitate childcare businesses, increasing capacity and accessibility while aligning the state regulations. This amendment addresses the pressing need for affordable childcare options. The amendment is a comprehensive effort to remove barriers, ensure a more equitable childcare landscape. So I'm a proponent.
I agree.
We all agree.
I think we all agree.
As far as special permit, you guys do enough work as it is. You really don't need that extra step. Being in that position, I know that firsthand.
Some look at special permit as power. I don't. I look at special permit.
Why would you
Well,
want
I heard
any
that
more
mentioned.
power?
I heard that mentioned tonight, and I took offense to it because I think special permits are to regulate and to help make things go smoothly. And that's what I'm looking to do in this child care ordinance, is not to have a kid drowned in a pool.
So as far as pool
that's-
location, as far as having a pool, keep in mind, as far as insurance requirements,
Yeah.
fencing around the pool, there are already insurance
I understand.
requirements and laws in place.
Yeah.
And how many kids do you think today are swimming in the pool at these child care facilities?
It's not
many.
the point.
So-
It's not the point, Stephen. That's not the point. The
But-
point is that it's another chance of danger. And that's one that I'm going to stand firm on.
And there are liabilities, and it's the business's responsibility to
I understand.
change
And
that. But
the
thank you for
ones
the
that
time.
have, the
Thank
ones
you.
that have it already are going to remain.
Thank you for your
having it.
time.
Okay. What's that? Why am I missing you tonight? You know what? There should be more people sitting on that side, and I'd be looking over there more.
Okay.
Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
All right. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts has extra precautions for anybody who has a pool. They take safety measures really seriously on anybody who has a pool in their property. Now, if I'm uncomfortable with a facility that has a pool, I'll just simply send my child elsewhere. So I just don't, I don't understand it. Some kids do require a pool. That helps them. I mean, it depends on what type of disability they may have. That may teach them how to learn better. But, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, if the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has taken proper precautions, why are we trying to limit this? I don't get it.
No, obviously, I think I'll withdraw the special permit one because it's obviously a non-starter, but I would want to stick with the pool one. And,
Let me just delete this as I go along, deleting the special permit.
well,
What's the question? If I can answer it, I will.
well, there's talk about a special division and your assistant or your employee got up and told us who inspects these daycares, and we're looking for a little something more than that. So it's suggested that we have some kind of a, like a committee like the
the short-term rental?
Like the short-term rental thing.
Yeah, I don't know if there's such a demand for that, and obviously that would be contemplating budgeting and
Yeah, well,
hiring
that's what
people
I'm
to do
saying. We
that. so
can't
that-
just tell the mayor to hire a.
No, you couldn't. That'd have to be put into the budget.
I get it, I get
You
it.
know how it works. I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
I get it. And we could probably pay overtime to the.
There are other options. You could have either the
Yeah.
current health inspectors
Yeah,
maybe go
right.
in there and
Add
do
a
that.
health inspector or something, whatever
Yeah.
the needs are. So we'll work around that somehow. Okay, so what else do we have, Madam Clerk?
You have the amendments regarding the pools that you're going to offer.
Right.
You also have the business certificate to be consistent with.
Yeah, I want to keep those two, yeah.
One, I guess there was a family child care home was required to get a business certificate, but then a child care center was not required to get a business certificate.
Just,
Frankly, in my opinion, I think it was redundant because if you're operating a business in a name other than your own, you're required to under state law anyways.
Okay, so we don't even need that then, right?
So you can strike from the original language
Okay,
from the original language presented by Councilor Silvestri and Councilor McKenna, you could just strike the business certificate altogether. As a suggestion, because they're required by state
they're
law
required by law
anyways.
anyway, so yeah, strike that too. So the only one we really have is the pool, right?
Just be the pool amendments as proposed, unless anyone wanted to take up
Right, so, okay, so we're going to have a roll call on the pool amendment. And just so everybody's clear, this is going from here to a public hearing, then it goes back to zoning. We can make any changes we want, but this is just getting the process moving forward, rolling. So that's what this was all about. So it wasn't, good. So that's where we are, okay. Everybody understands.
On
Good.
Chairman Zambuto's First Amendment to Section 11, Section 11, 17-16080F is hereby amended by deleting the subsection in its entirety and inserting in place thereof. 17.16.080F, swimming pools are prohibited on the premises of a child care center. On that amendment, Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
No.
No, Councilor Kelly.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Silvestri.
No.
No, Council President Cogliandro.
Yes.
Yes, and Councilor Zambuto.
Yes.
Yes, that amendment passes. Next would be.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Should we add that, or is it automatic that existing ones with pools are grandfathered? How does that work?
I would have
Counselor?
to defer to either Louis or Paul, but.
I'm referring to Paul right now.
But in my opinion, it would be a non-conforming use.
Non-conforming use.
If it's
So you-
considered a zoning change, yeah, the people that, Ashley's right, it would be protected
Okay.
for that,
good.
if it's
So we're
considered a
good.
zoning change.
So that's good, great, okay,
Okay.
good, thank you.
Now, Section 12 has a pool, there's several. So Section 12, 17-16085B is hereby amended by deleting the subsection in its entirety and inserting in place thereof. 17.16.085B, swimming pools are prohibited on the premises of a family child care home. Councilor Guarino Sawaya?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Kelly?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Council President Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes, and Chairman Zambuto?
Yes,
Yes. And on the final amendment to strike the requirement of filing a business certificate. Councilor Guarino Sawaya?
Can you repeat that?
This would be striking the requirement to file a business certificate.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Kelly?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Council President Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes, and Chairman Zambuto?
yes.
Yes, that amendment passes.
So now a roll call on as amended.
Shall the zoning subcommittee offer a favorable recommendation to the full city council to adopt, to order to a public hearing the amended child care home ordinance? Councilor Guarino Sawaya?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Kelly?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Council President Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes, and Councilor Zambuto?
Yes,
Yes, received a favorable recommendation to order
All
to a
right.
public hearing as amended.
great. There's no further business.